Hello, my name is Edwin Ricardo, and I'm here to discuss what exactly is emergency management theory and does it exist in the real world. Let's start by defining each individual term. Emergency management, as defined by FEMA, is a managerial function in charge with creating the framework within which communities reduce vulnerability to hazards and cope with disasters. It could also be defined as the analysis, planning, decision-making, and available resources being assigned to mitigate, prepare for, respond to, and recover from the effects of all hazards. A theory, on the other hand, is defined as a plausible or scientifically acceptable general principle or body of principles offered to explain a phenomena. So what exactly is emergency management theory? It's not something hypothetical, but rather includes the objectives, goals, phases, and resource allocation of emergency management. The cultural, economic, and managerial aspects, such as risk assessment, poverty, and insurance coverage, are also included in the theory. Although the theory isn't clearly defined or stated, it does exist in the real world simply by assessing hazard and disaster preparation and the action of both responding and recovering from them. The main objectives of emergency management theory include the protection of property and the environment, prevention of injuries, and ultimately saving lives. The picture below shows the deadly wildfires that roared across Napa and Sonoma counties in California about a month ago. Local emergency management such as firefighters came into play to help extinguish the fires and evacuate over 20,000 people. The way in which emergency management theory is used is by having risk management and disaster response all organized accordingly. Organizations at the local, state, and federal level all have specific protocols in which they follow based on the severity of the situation and the resources available. There are four phases that comprise how emergency management is gone about. The first phase is mitigation, and it involves all activities that prevent an emergency as well as reducing the chances of emergencies and damages that are considered unavoidable. This step takes place before an emergency is brought about. Floodplain management is an example as it provides preventative measures for reducing flood damage in a given community. The second phase is preparedness and includes all plans and preparations made to save lives and help response operations. This step also takes place before an emergency occurs. An example includes local and state organizations providing public education programs to inform their citizens how to best prepare for any sort of hazard or disaster. The third phase is response and includes all actions to save lives, prevent property damage, reduce injuries, and speed up recovery from emergencies. This step takes place during an emergency and puts preparedness into action. An example is fire departments and emergency teams that are deployed to address basic human needs and restore critical infrastructure. The last phase is recovery and involves actions taken to return back to normal or better situation after an emergency. The Food and Nutrition Service is an example as it provides food packages directly to households and mass feeding sites that are in need. There are two types of implementation styles involved in emergency management. The top-down approach handles emergencies beginning with the national government and further moves downward to the state and local level. Iran is considered to have this form of management. The other approach is bottom-up, which handles emergencies beginning with local government and moves upward to the state and national level if additional resources are needed. The United States is considered to have this implementation of emergency management. There are many organizations that comprise a country's emergency management. However, I listed three main actors that play a huge role: local emergency management, FEMA, whose mission is to support citizens and first responders to protect against, respond to, recover from, and mitigate all hazards. And lastly, Homeland Security, which is a federal agency that provides support roles under emergency response functions. All in all, I believe emergency management theory does exist. However, some countries implement it much better and more efficient. That is the end of my project.